When it comes to reasons why products get thrown away, there's still an elephant in the room, and that's obsolescence. Obsolescence means that the world changes while the product stays the same. So you can have something that's in perfect working order, and yet it's no longer useful or desirable. I want to tell you a story. Last week, I went to my local hardware store, and as I was about to leave, I spotted a stack of small stoves in cardboard boxes by the door, gathering dust as if they'd been there for years. And I asked the chap, "What's up with those stoves?" And he said, "We can't get the fuel anymore." Now, as I have a passion for product design, I spent 89 Rand, that's about $5 US, and brought one home to investigate. This is a protostar bubesi. The name bubesi means lion in the Zulu language. When you take the stove out of the box, it makes a good first impression. It's made out of zinc-plated steel for economy, and it has a nice weight to it. Feels a lot stronger than a typical camping stove, like something that would last for years or decades. And indeed, that was the original idea. The bubesi was designed for people who don't have electricity in their own homes. People who would otherwise use a paraffin wick stove, something which uses a ring of wicks, maybe 6, to draw up paraffin out of a vessel at the bottom. And this type of stove is very sensitive to deterioration and incorrect adjustment. You need to take care of it if it's going to produce a clean, hot blue flame. If you don't, it makes a yellow flame, and that turns your cookware sooty and releases smoke into your house, which is not good for your health. There's also the problem that these paraffin wick stoves are tall, so it's easy to knock one over, and then the paraffin spills out and you burn your house down. But the thing is, if you don't have electricity, you probably also don't have much money. So if your stove is halfway functional, you're going to keep on using it. And the idea of the bubesi is that it's very insensitive to age and neglect, so it will always remain fully functional. It's also squat and stable, so you can't knock it over, and so that you and your children stay safe. When you want to use the stove, you take the cap off the burner. And when you finish cooking, the cap can also be used to extinguish the flame. It's a very simple design with just one moving part. That's this collar here with a ring of air holes. You can move it to the left to close the air holes and to the right to open them. This changes the airflow and regulates the size of the flame. Essentially, it's a large laboratory alcohol burner, but it's designed to burn methanol, which isn't a common fuel. The methanol was originally available from the manufacturer, but it seems that the manufacturer sadly went bankrupt. In the center, you can see a spike right in the middle of the burner. And the idea was, you'd buy a half-litre bottle of methanol, which was about the size and shape of a mango, and you'd push it down onto that spike, puncturing the bottle and allowing all the methanol to drain down into the tank at the bottom. And the tank is packed full of ceramic wool beneath this stainless steel gauze here. The ceramic wool serves two purposes. First, it acts as a wick, drawing the fuel up to the burner, but a wick that doesn't burn away, so you don't have to spend money on replacing it. Second, it retains the fuel if you knock the stove over. You can actually take the stove, fill it with fuel, and turn it upside down, and the fuel doesn't drip out. So what we have here is a very sad situation. These stoves are sitting there unwanted in the hardware store, gathering dust, obsolete before they're even sold. And I feel bad for the people who bought these stoves over the last few years, because these are not wealthy people, and they put their trust in a new design, a design that should have been economical and durable, and yet because the fuel has become unavailable, they can't use their investment. They can't use their stoves. I've now filled the stove with ordinary methylated spirit, and it's just starting to boil this 5-pint kettle. You can see it's taking a while. You could say it brews coffee on African time, but then 5 pints is a lot of coffee. I suspect it's not burning quite so hot because it doesn't have the right fuel. So I've put a piece of fiberglass sheet around here to shield the burner from the wind. It's also a very tall flame that you probably can't see in there without any turbulence. It moves very slowly. And seeing this, I think to myself, why didn't the designer make this to use methylated spirit, which you can get in every supermarket? And against this background, I'd implore all the product designers to think carefully about how you can make your products useful in the long term, in many different places and times and circumstances.